They have a surplus of at least $1 trillion a year. I think it's like $1.1 trillion. And I want that solved. And no other president's taken it on. I had to take it on the last time.
But nonetheless, we get accused of all sorts of things, but we are extremely transparent, and we're only cutting the most obvious, terrible expenses that make no sense.
But with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China.
I want to be very clear about Trump's tariffs. They're going to destroy American companies, said Elon Musk, just days before Trump announced even higher tariffs targeting China. Guess who has a gigafactory in China? The same billionaire who's now frantically backpedaling? This is what happens when you lie down with dogs. You get up with fleas and a 25% tax on your electric vehicles. Musk thought he'd bought himself a seat at the big boy table with his Doge position, but instead he's become Trump's personal punching bag. Spoiler alert, it gets even worse for the Rocket Man. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Remember when Elon thought he was so smart joining Trump's team? Well, guess what? The billionaire genius just got played like a cheap fiddle. The world's richest man who launches rockets into space couldn't see the most obvious political trap that was right in front of his face.
I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. But we're very transparent with the Department of Government Efficiency. So any action that we make, we post on the doge.gov website and we post on our X account. So it's extreme transparency.
Just to back it up, you were there, I won.
What's your handicap these days?
Very low.
But nonetheless, we get accused of all sorts of things, but we are extremely transparent, and we're only cutting the most obvious, terrible expenses that make no sense.
It's almost funny if it wasn't so pathetic. When Trump appointed Musk to head the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short, Elon practically wet himself with excitement. Finally, the tech bro who thinks he knows everything about everything could fix the government. He'd streamline processes, cut the red tape, and show those Washington bureaucrats how a real businessman gets things done. What a joke that turned out to be. The Doge position was never meant to give Musk any real power. It was a shiny toy Trump dangled in front of Elon's ego, knowing the Tesla CEO would jump at the chance to add another fancy title to his collection. Trump needed a loyal billionaire to parade around, and Musk was all too happy to volunteer for the job. The poor sucker thought he was getting a seat at the big boy table when really he was just being set up as the fall guy. The real gut punch came when Trump announced those massive tariffs targeting China. You know, the country where Tesla has that gigantic factory pumping out thousands of cars. Did Trump consult his supposed efficiency expert before dropping this economic bombshell? Of course not. Musk probably found out about it the same way we all did, scrolling through Truth Social while sitting on the toilet. And here's where Trump's evil genius really shines. The moment people started complaining about these insane tariffs destroying American businesses with overseas operations, Trump simply pointed at Musk saying, "Talk to Elon, he's handling government efficiency." Suddenly, the billionaire who thought he was going to be a kingmaker found himself as the public punching bag for unpopular policies he had zero input on. Trump's strategy is brilliant in its simplicity.
They have a surplus of at least $1 trillion a year. I think it's like $1.1 trillion. And I want that solved. And no other president's taken it on. I had to take it on the last time.
And if that means leaving the EU, it means leaving the EU. The attacks, the terrorism, the killing of innocent people is rising. Every week, there's more. And it's more and more. And eventually, I think we're going to see widespread slaughter.
The market is smoking when they look at the fact that we have $1 billion trade deficit. When you look at the trade deficit that we have with certain countries, way over $1 billion per country.
He gets all the credit when his base cheers for tough policies against China, while Musk takes all the heat when businesses start screaming about their profits tanking. It's the political equivalent of ordering an expensive meal and then sneaking out when the check arrives, leaving your friend stuck with the bill. Meanwhile, poor little rich boy Elon is trapped in an impossible position. If he criticizes Trump's tariffs, he loses all those MAGA fanboys who've been propping up his social media platform. If he stays quiet, he watches Tesla stocks circle the drain as China inevitably retaliates against American companies operating within their borders. Some business genius, huh? The irony here is absolutely delicious. The self-proclaimed free speech warrior can't even speak freely about policies that are directly hurting his own company. The guy who tweets every random thought that pops into his head suddenly has nothing to say about the most important economic decision affecting his business. Funny how that works, isn't it? Musk tried playing politician by donating millions to Trump's campaign, thinking he was buying himself a seat at the table. Instead, all that cash just paid for an overpriced bulletproof vest that Trump is now wearing. When the economic bullets start flying over these tariffs, Elon is the one catching them in the chest while Trump walks away without a scratch. Trump is using Musk as his personal flak jacket. When things go wrong, Elon takes the hits while Trump walks away clean. And the best part? Musk is still smiling through it all, desperately hoping that maybe, just maybe, if he's loyal enough, Trump might actually listen to his advice someday.
Hundreds of billions of dollars a year we lose with China, and unless we solve that problem, I'm not going to make a deal. Now, I'm willing to deal with China, but they have to solve their surplus. We have a tremendous deficit problem with China, but with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China. And then we had a rigged election. No other president's taking it on. And so China is, they say the market's spoken. The market, China is right now taking a big hit because everyone knows we're right.
It's very difficult to reduce the size of the bureaucracy and government spending. It comes with immense opposition. Even when the things that we are cutting make no sense at all, it still gets a lot of opposition.
Spoiler alert, he won't. But this is just the beginning of Elon's humiliation tour. The real question isn't whether Trump will throw Musk under the bus. It's when and how spectacularly he'll do it. Trump's entire career is littered with the bodies of former best friends who outlived their usefulness. Michael Cohen, Jeff Sessions, John Bolton, the list of people who thought they were special until they weren't is longer than Trump's ties. What's truly stunning is that Musk, with all his supposed intelligence, couldn't see this coming from a mile away. Did he really think he'd be the one exception to Trump's lifelong pattern of using people and then discarding them? Was the allure of being in Trump's inner circle so powerful that it blinded the tech mogul to the obvious trap he was walking into? So, that's how the cookie crumbles, folks. Elon's big brain was no match for Trump's lifetime of duping people. The tech billionaire who builds rockets got completely bamboozled by a guy who can barely operate his Truth Social account. Tesla's stock is doing the electric slide downward, while Chinese officials are probably laughing their heads off. Musk's Twitter followers are jumping ship faster than rats from the Titanic. The moral of this sad little story? All the money in the world can't buy common sense. Next time you see Musk standing behind Trump at a rally, just remember, that's not the face of power. That's the face of regret.